All right, let's try this again, shall we? I don't seem to be having any trouble with this particular layout. My bitrate looks good. I was testing that for the run, so I think I'm going to leave this for the time being, and I'm going to come up with another variation of this for Diane Wrights, obviously, because, yeah. All right, we're going to start over with Siobhan's showcase because of lag. I like this article. I believe I've already given it a like, and I'm pretty sure I put it on my summer camp page. I like to have a page where I put my articles. This time I combined it. I've got my articles, Aaron's articles, and then in the sidebar I'm putting articles that I like, that I happen to read, and I caught this on stream the other night. So, The Tower of London. Alternative names. By the way, I don't know if you heard me, but I really like the fact that you've got the sliding sidebar here, Siobhan. That's awesome. I've done that with like one article of mine, and it was the adventure Airts and Anchors. And the reason why is because I wanted that stuff that's kind of like a DM's handy dandy tool bar. So refresh then, please. Okay. Oh, Artemis is hiding under the blankie. Kitty kitty. Aw. Alright. Hello, Madhouse. First time I get to lurk in your chat, I think. Off to do Prompt 13 and stream. Have a good stream. Well, thank you, Madhouse. And good to see you. Feel free to lurk. Lurking is always welcome. Alright. The Tower of London. Alternative names. The White Tower. Type, megastructure. Location, under England. Owner, ruler, the king or queen of England. Ruling, owning rank, their royal majesty. Owning organization, United Kingdom. Related myths, where the ravens flee, or when the ravens flee, which is obviously a related myth. And by the way, yes, let's see, Masadi's during the break redeemed 354 words for the pride. Good job, Queen of Caps. We just had Extreme Psy redeem 1,975 words for House Mollusca, and that is prompt 5 complete. Good job. Sunny says she full on pawed at my blanket. This is, of course, Artemis with duvet cover and demanded to be allowed under. Aw. Both of the kitties do it, but Artemis less so. Just usually when she's feeling overwhelmed and just wants to hide. Aw. And Siobhan says, sounds like my puppers. It's great. Okay. The Tower of London. Fortress. Palace. Prison. And may I say the CSS on this is beautiful. Good work. If the ravens ever leave the tower, England will fall. Speaker unknown. By the way, those who don't know, that is a legit prophecy about the Tower of London. It really is a thing. The Tower of London has long been wrapped in myths and mysticism. The most famous myth surrounding the tower was the prophecy of the Tower Ravens. Good job. Because of this, steps were taken to prevent the prophecy from coming true. With only 7 ravens remaining in the tower during the early 21st century, the yeoman warder, known as the Raven Master, clipped a single wing feather from each wing. The yeoman, panicking at this fact, I would just say panicking at this, or panicking, you don't need this fact. The yeoman, panicking at this, or the yeoman, panicking, sought more ravens to breed for the tower. And hello, Esong, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. You came after the Bork, and I, restarted. I think I finally tracked down the problem. I think that it's the other Stream Elements layout. Yeah, the yeoman panicked. That also works much better. It can be nice and simple, right? This endeavor failed, though, for a time. Probably need a calm after time, too. There were more than 7 ravens. Every raven brought in would die inexplicably within a couple of weeks of being moved to the tower. The prophecy was fulfilled when the ravens all died in the year 2173. 1 year later, the rising ocean levels completely drowned the United Kingdom. Yeah, that would work too, yeah. The yeoman panicked and sought more ravens. Yeah, but actually, I would say she has to leave to breed for the tower, because then the next sentence, this endeavor failed. Right? And that's the endeavor, the breeding program. Okay. 1 year later, the rising ocean levels completely drowned the United Kingdom. When the ocean levels rose, it flowed up the tidal river of the Thames and wiped out London. If you want to say it flowed up, I would say when the ocean rose, but I'm even tempted to not say that. Change it to they, the ocean waters, they flowed up the tidal river of the Thames. Yeah, that would work. You could also just say the rising water flowed up the tidal river of the Thames and wiped out London, right? And then you're not repeating the rising ocean kind of thing, but up to you. It works as it is. The Tower of London, built on the banks of the river, was one of the first buildings to fall. Rumors. Since its fall, there are several rumors surrounding the Tower of London. The primary rumor is that whoever can find it, I think that might be whomever. Is that whoever or whomever, Tal? Let me know. The primary rumor is that whomever, no, you're right, whoever, I think, can find it and recover the crown jewels from within their watery tomb would rule all of England. Oh, majestic raven Merlina is currently missing from the tower, leaving only 6 ravens. Currently? 6 ravens? Yikes. 8, either 8 ravens or 2 ravens were born over lockdown. It is who, okay? Did you spend the showcase points there, Barbarossa? Since its fall, there are several rumors surrounding the Tower of London. The primary rumor is that whoever can find it and recover the crown jewels from within their watery tomb... it's long. The primary rumor is that whoever can find it, and recover the crown jewels from within their watery tomb, or within its water... with their watery tomb, because they're referring to the jewels, that's right. Use the points Moon spent on mine? Okay. Oh well, too late. Yeah, okay, I'll refund Sparkle's points then. No problem. I will do that. I will refund Sparkle's points and we'll use yours there, Moon. Okay. Yeah, would rule all of England. Now, why would anyone want to rule a waterlogged country they can't even place a foot on? You might want a question mark there, because you said that's a common question asked when the rumor is brought up, which I think is funny. And that's a good timing for that. Oh, I initially had it on there, but I bumped the X when I hit the enter button on my phone. Okay, fair enough there. No worries there, Barbarossa. I'm going to refund your points because Moon said use the points that she made, or they made, so I will do that. Sunny says, I kind of want to do something with London in some of my apocalypse stories. London's a good place to bring into an apocalypse, man. There's all kinds of prophecies about it. So, okay, a less well-known rumor, though older than the rest, let's see. This is a weird sentence. I don't think that's quite right, but I'm not sure how to... A less well-known rumor, though older than the rest, is... How about something like a less well-known rumor, older than the rest, says, or claims, that if you could get the ravens to return to the site of the Tower of London, England would rise from the depths of the ocean to regain prominence. This is the most intriguing rumor, even though no one has considered it to be very accurate. An older, lesser-known rumor? Yeah, it might be a good one. A less known, though older rumor is. A less known, comma, though older rumor is. Yeah. Siobhan says I removed the comma. Okay. Song says, I absolutely love that as a quote. I do too. I think that's great. I think it needs a question mark on it, on the end of it, but I like it. Siobhan says, no, okay. Sunny says, it is especially with some of the superstitions, and this article just makes me want to go, what would happen to my story around this? See, this is what good articles do. They inspire other articles. Okay. I really like this article, Siobhan. I want to clarify that. I am tearing an ass in your grammar because you're there. Right? Okay. So, yeah, an older, lesser known rumor is that claims that if you could get the ravens to return to the site of the Tower of London, England would rise from the depths of the ocean to regain prominence. This sentence, there's two things, right? This is the most intriguing rumor, even though no one has considered it to be very accurate. It's kind of awkward, A, right? It's a value judgment, B, right? Are you intending to put a value judgment in this? Most of the rest of the tone is kind of like a Wikipedia article. Who says it's the most intriguing? Someone could, but give them a name and an identity, right? If you're going to do that, I think. Though possibly one of the most intriguing rumors, no one takes it seriously, right? Something like that, or no one gives it any credit or credence. Yeah, the value judgment for me is the most jarring aspect of that Suzy song. Yeah, me too. Sunny says, because I got my survived by sheer dumb luck apocalypse story, and a kind of a killer man-made virus wiped out most of the world, and you don't leave the cities now, so let's leave the cities one. Ha ha ha. Nice. And then Siobhan says, I want you to, and thanks. I don't understand, Barbarossa. Going intriguing yet uncredited rumor. An intriguing but uncredited rumor? Yeah, this might be. It's still a value judgment, though. Okay, anyway, reworked that a bit. Localized phenomena. These are only some of the apparitions reported within the Tower of London before 2173. By the way, Siobhan is making none of this up. The only thing she's making up about this is the fact that in 2173, the ravens all left the tower, and then the ocean swallowed London and the UK, right? Everything else here, from the prophecies about the ravens to how they're handling it, to the duty of the Raven Master, to the apparitions, all of it, none of this is made up. This is just research, and it's awesome. Okay. The ghosts of the two murdered princes, Edward V and Richard, from 1483, have been seen walking the halls of the tower hand in hand. Which Richard? Prince Richard. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I guess it's not one or two. By the way, you have two periods at the end of that sentence. I don't know if you noticed. I just did. You've got period, space, period. Looks like he deleted something, but missed the period. There was a rumor that the headless ghost of Anne Boleyn haunted the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula, where her body was buried after her beheading in 1536 for adultery and treason. Another tale is of Anne Boleyn and her retinue haunting the chapel. While on duty, a guard captain saw lights in the abandoned chapel. Pressing his face to the window, he watched knights, lords, ladies, and Anne Boleyn walk towards the altar. Neat. Yes. One particularly scary occurrence happened. Again, a value judgment. I might just delete that sentence entirely. One particularly scary occurrence happened. By including this quote here, you make it clear that this is one of the events, and readers will be able to catch that this is different from the events you've mentioned so far. Siobhan says, though possibly the most intriguing rumor, most don't give it credence. Sure, that works. just caught that. Done. Okay, cool. That is the sprint, I believe. Yep, that's the sprint. Those of you sprinting, feel free to report your words. I'm going to carry on with Siobhan's showcase. Okay. It happened on a Saturday night in October, at about the witching hour. I was in the Jewel House, now the Martin Tower, the doleful prison of Anne Boleyn. The windows were closed, the curtains were pulled over, and the room was lighted by a couple of candles. Her family were seated within. Or his family were seated within. Something very odd happened. We've changed from I to he. My family were seated within? Are you quoting, you're quoting this guy, right? Yeah, the quote is a direct quote from a website and is quoted as such with all credit given. Awesome. Oh, hello. Suma Sakamiya? Do I have that correct? Welcome to the stream. I see that DM Stretch, one of my moderators, has already given you a welcome, and thanks for joining us. Hello, I'm a writer, but I'm having trouble finding a way to publish my story. Would you mind giving me advice on a way to do so? I write fan fiction and fiction fantasy stories. I totally can, and that is part of what I do here on the stream, is offer, you know, what advice I can about writing and publishing. Okay, so for fan fiction, you almost never can actually do anything with it. But I advise you to go to YouTube and look for a video called Pity You Can't Publish It. It's a talk that was given at a con by a guy who took his fan fiction and altered it to change it to a way that it could be published because it was no longer, you know, trademarked or copyrighted material. I followed his advice, and that's why my book, A Few Good Elves, is coming out very shortly, thanks to the fact that it has been supported by the Kickstarter, which is great. And as to that's my quick and dirty for fan fiction, right? The process of publishing is complex. If you don't mind, I will wait and get into it after I finish reading this article that I'm reading for Siobhan, and then we'll talk about it in more detail, because it's a bit of a, you know, there's information on different ways to do it, and you should have some of the basic info before you decide how you're going to proceed and make your decision. So, if that's all right with you, I will do that. Hey, Scribe, good to see you. Scribe says, I wanted to get your opinion on a working animal prompt, but it's a little long, so I wanted to check with you before I spent the points for it. You know, I'm in the mood to do showcases tonight, and it seems to be that's the way we're going. I will have time to continue to work on my stuff after, so if there is a showcase left, then by all means go for it, and if not, maybe we can get it tomorrow. So, you bet. I see that the community is welcoming you there, Suma Sakamiya, which I think is great. Yep, and then there's Archive of Our Own for fan fiction if you're just wanting to, like, put it out there and you're not really interested in making money on it. Thank you for Siobhan jumping in, my other one of my other moderators there, jumping in with the Kickstarter link. We are at something like 53 hours to go. Yes, 53 hours to go. We are funded, right? But we are $219 short of the first stretch goal, which would be basic audiobooks. So I will do my pitch later with the video, but not right at this moment. Okay. Anyway. All right. If his family was in the direct quote, fine, Siobhan. Don't pay any attention to me. It doesn't matter whether it's grammatically correct or not if it's a direct quote. My wife looked up and exclaimed, "Good God, what is that?" I looked up and saw a cylindrical figure like a glass tube, seemingly about the thickness of my arm. It was hovering between the ceiling and the table. Its contents appeared to be a dense fluid, white and pale azure, like the gathering of a summer cloud. That's the get back to work growl from the Dragon of Productivity. Those of you doing word sprints, he demands sacrifices of creativity words, so carry on. Okay. Like the gathering of a summer cloud, and incessantly rolling and mingling within the cylinder. This lasted about 2 minutes. Then it began slowly to move before my sister-in-law. Then, following the oblong shape of the table, before my son and myself. Passing behind my wife, it paused for a moment over her right shoulder. Instantly she crouched down, and with both hands covering her shoulders, she shrieked out, "Oh Christ, it has seized me!" Even now, while writing, I feel the fresh horror of that moment. Edmund Lenthal Swift, keeper of the crown jewels between 1814 and 1852, as posted on Tower of London Ghosts. Neat. Okay, got you there, Scribe. I'll call that up before I do anything else. Esau woke me up the other day to tell me about the Kickstarter. I'm sorry she woke you up, but I'm also kind of honored. That's really cool. Barbarossa says, I refuse to give the dragon my creative words. I didn't vote for him. Awesome. That's the way to do it. Okay. History. Again, Siobhan, the pictures are great and it complements the CSS beautifully. The Tower of London was originally built in 1078 by William the Conqueror to subdue the local people of London. It was built to include the Roman walls that were still standing at the time. Over the years, it has been expanded by various rulers of England, most notably Richard I, Henry III, and Edward I, who expanded the tower in the 12th and 13th centuries. Comma after Edward I, no capital on who. Moonflower says, Esong has been hyper-focusing lately, hasn't she? Scribe's like, a lot of people have been using that word for it, yes. My partners use obsessing when I do it. Both are probably accurate. Alright. These expansions included adding of a moat and adding a moat, not of a moat, adding a moat and increasing the height of the walls. A rookery was included when the prophecy of the Tower Ravens was first uttered. That makes sense. I didn't know that, actually. When the majority of staff were let go, the Raven Master was kept on. This particular change was because of the prophecy. I did know that, though. It is the yeoman's job to ensure that the ravens cannot fly away from the tower. This was accomplished by clipping a wing feather to prevent them from flying. And what a neat job to have, I think. Wouldn't that be just the coolest job to have? Right? Your job is to take care of the ravens and make sure they don't leave the tower and don't die. Because some prophecy years ago said that if the ravens left the tower, England was fucked. I love it. I just love it. The fact that this job exists in the modern age is really neat. And we have 661 words for the squids from Sunny. Good job. Yeah, okay, great. I missed your thing there, Suma Sakamiya, but I got it now. You said thank you, and yes, I can wait until you're done. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's great. This being your first time here, if you're not familiar with what we keep talking about with the words, there is an event going on right now for writers on Twitch called the Game of Tomes, Tourney of Tales. It's a team sport where you accumulate your words for a house that you choose to represent, and the winner gets bragging rights. We're also, in this particular iteration, keeping track of leaderboards for people who are doing writing and people who are doing editing, and the people at the top of the leaderboard get digital prizes. Usually it's ebooks donated by writers in the community. So, yeah, there's websites you want to check it out. You saw who, me? I love it. I'm just checking my lag here. 10. Okay. Nice! I think I've only got about a 10-second lag. Perfect. That's great. I can work with that. Okay. Uses through time. The Tower of London started as a fortification and transitioned to residence, governance, menagerie, and then prison. In the late 20th century, it became more of a tourist attraction and museum. Some things that have been kept in the Tower of London are the crown jewels. Okay, you capitalized crown jewels here, but you did not capitalize them back here when you said they were drowned and people might want to dig them up and rule England. Yeah, see, rumors since its fall. The primary rumor is that whoever can find it and recover the crown jewels. Pick one. I would suggest capitalizing because they usually are capitalized when I see them. So, yeah. Some things that have been kept in the Tower of London are the crown jewels. This is particularly because of the security of the tower and the prophecy about the ravens. Okay, yeah, that's legit. It's a little awkward, but it works. Sounds like a lot of pressure is attached to the Johnson's move. Yeah, keep the ravens alive or England will be destroyed. It still sounds like fun, though. Sunny wiggles a tentacle and goes back to where it's awesome. I wonder if you would get fired if one of the ravens died on your watch, says Barbarossa. I think that happened, so I'm not sure. They didn't, I don't think. Anyway. Fortress, 1078 to 1153. No, you do not? Okay, we'll pick one. This is my point, right? As a fortress, it was built and used to control the trade on the River Thames. By controlling the trade, William the Conqueror and the Normans were capable of controlling the, not two. You did pick one. Okay. I didn't refresh, so alright. Oh, no, you do not get fired. Okay, that's what you mean. Sorry, Siobhan. Moonflower says, oh shit, this bird's getting old, I'm going to lose my job. Yeah. Okay. Okay, by controlling the trade, William the Conqueror and the Normans were capable of controlling the Anglo-Saxon population of London. You have two, it's a typo. Using the Roman walls, Roman should be capitalized. And I think you've, it was a small, lowercase you used on the other one too. So double check that. Using the Roman walls to the south in the river, the primary building for the tower fortress was the inner keep or donjon, commonly called the White Tower. Palace, 1080 to 1475. After being established for control, the royal families lived in the Tower of London until the time of the anarchy, 1135 to 1153. There were some living still in the tower until near the end of the 15th century. Neat. Fixed, says Siobhan. Cool. Prison. 1321 to 1952. In 1321, the first woman to be imprisoned in the tower was Marguerite de Clare, Baroness Badlesmere. Her Royal Majesty, Queen Isabella, didn't like being refused entry to Castle Leeds, nor having her party fired upon by the Baroness's archers. No shit! I don't think I'd be terribly impressed by that either, were I the Queen. Other notable visitors... Oh, and we have a tooltip. Prisoners were referred to as visitors to give the impression of civility. Haha, nice! That I didn't know either. Other notable visitors to the tower included Anne Boleyn, the young princes Edward V and Richard, King John II of France, King David II of Scotland, and Mary, Queen of Scots. Nice. During the reign of King Edward II, the tower became rather run down. Okay, again, you've got a capital here and no capital here. You must pick one and be consistent. I think capitalizing it works because they do refer to it as the Tower, right? And the Tower of London is a proper name, the Tower being a shortened form of that. So I think you can get away with that, but you got to pick one. Okay. During the reign of King Edward II, the tower became rather run down. King Edward III ordered it to be renovated after taking the throne. You need a period here. There is a typo. It could be that you took that, copied it from the other place, and pasted it here where you had the extra period. The tower was used as a prison right up until the mid-20th century. Mid-20th is hyphenated. The last prisoners were the Cray twins for failing to report for national service. They were only held there for a few days. Yeah, you may only pick one. Choose wisely, he says. This is a thing now, isn't it? Yeah. Museum. 1558 to 2174. Tourism of the tower started during the Elizabethan era when foreigners came to see the infamous tower. Tourism of the tower, the infamous tower. I feel like you should do something with one of those. Yes, I agree with Song. I would pick whichever one was most prevalent in your research. I know where it comes from there, Scribe. He says it was an Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail reference. Yes, choose wisely. He chose poorly. I don't know if this thing with the choose wisely started in the community here before it, but I know that, I think it was Kahuna was bringing it up the other day when we were doing the Worldbuilder stream, right? And he even called a graphic, "You have chosen poorly." And that's the place where shit gets real if you go that way in the adventure. So it's kind of fun. All right. Yeah. Anyway, there's something funny about this. Tourism started during the Elizabethan era when foreigners came to see the infamous tower. There you go. That works. Though the majority of the Tower of London has become a museum and tour piece, there were still areas which were out of bounds for tourists. These areas included the living quarters for the yeoman warders. The yeoman is spelt wrong here. I heard a dingy thing. Oh, hello, Mar. Good to see you. Thank you very much for the raid. How was your stream? Check out Marge Carroll, guys, if you have not already. He is a writing streamer. Stream was productive. Excellent. I am glad to hear that. My stream has not been productive. I've been reading showcases, but I'm excited about it because I haven't gotten to do it in a few days, and it's fun. And that's half the fun of summer camp for me. So it's cool. All right. But I'm glad it was productive. That's excellent. I'm glad the words are in your favor today. That's great. Okay, yeoman warder here is, isn't it yeoman is how it's spelled? You've just reversed the O and the E. And then you've got a tooltip, which is nice. Seen as the Royal Guard who cannot move while on duty, commonly known as beefeaters. Yeah, the guys with the fuzzy hats that people insist upon trying to harass and get to move. But dudes, I would advise you not to do that. You see, if you go to the Tower of London, right, and you meet the beefeaters, those guys, well, okay, at Windsor Palace, anyway, I don't know about the Tower of London, but at Windsor Palace, right, they are actually trained Marines, most of whom are war veterans of recent conflicts in the Middle East. They will shoot your ass, and they will be accurate. So do not fuck with them. They're doing their thing because of tradition. So, Sunny says, I've been wording and trying not to check my GoFundMe or my Ko-Fi. I hear you. Yeah, exactly. Siobhan says, I fixed it, and they require 20 years military experience. Exactly. Exactly. Right? So do not fuck with these guys. They might be wearing funny hats, but they will kill you dead. The fall of the tower, 2174. There were about 150 people living in the tower when it fell. Again, with the, you know, I don't know whether you're choosing capital or not, but if you chose capital, you gotta fix that one. If you didn't, then you don't. Okay, after the last raven died during the Christmas season in 2173, the spring rains were heavier than normal the following year, which is a bad thing in England, which doesn't need the help. With the heavier rains and rising sea levels, the ground beneath the tower began to liquefy, another tower that might need to be changed. Due to the fact that the tower, again, was built on a hill, the people inside felt they were safe. No comma after inside. What they forgot to take into account was the prophecy. After 2 months of solid rain, the ground sucked the tower down overnight. Overnight is one word, with the rising sea levels flooding the tower through the windows and chimneys. I'm not going to say, you know, let me ask you, Siobhan, did you choose capital or did you choose lowercase for the tower? Because if you chose lowercase, I don't have to keep mentioning it. If you didn't, then I should. Okay, all right, 20 kitty words for the pride from the Queen of Cats. Good job. And that's the sprint. I chose capital, and I'm changing as I see the issue. Okay, awesome. In that case, I will mention them whenever they appear. I'm going to just double check on my stream here. Redeem Hydrate, thank you. Hail Hydrate, I do need to do that. Like I said, it's still pretty hot here, so... It's starting to cool down a bit now, though. It says it's 33 degrees outside. Alright, then I will mention it every time I see the word tower. Just to help you find it, in case you miss one. What does my chat timer look like here? Nice! 15-second delay. I like it. Control F also helps. Yeah, good point. Control F does help. Whew. How are people doing on their sprints, by the way? Okay. I'm going to carry on because I understand we have a lot of showcases to do today. With the heavier rains and the rising sea levels, the people inside felt they were safe. What they forgot to take into account was the prophecy. After 2 months of solid rain, the ground sucked the tower, capitalized, down overnight. Overnight is one word. With the rising sea levels flooding the tower, capital T, through the windows and chimneys. Unfortunately for those living within its walls, there was no escape. Brutal. I'm supposed to be sprinting, says Esong? Maybe. Well, right now it's on a break, actually. So, probably not. You can if you want to. I am wearing a bunny ears for a reason, right? This is Game of Tones. It is Fraternity of Tales, so up to you. I'm going to worry about it after. All right. Aaron turns in 360 words for the colony, right? Bat colony. Good job. Do non-fiction words count too? Yes! In the Tourney of Tales, they do. Any writing project is established to have counted. Yes, the colony. Awesome. So yeah, feel free to count your, teacher paperwork or whatever. All right. Anecdotes and quips. During the early 21st century, there was a raven known as the Black Widow. We have a link. No, we don't. It's just highlighted. Okay. She lured 2 of her mates to the top of the White Tower, a height too high for them to safely descend from due to their clipped wings. The first fell to his death in the courtyard. The second fared a little better as he was able to glide down. However, he overshot and ended up in the River Thames, where he drowned. I'd put a comma after Thames. He sounds like, yay, I have a huge writing project due tomorrow. Thank you, Bunny Goddess. You're welcome. Awesome. But don't thank me. That's established rules. We did that in April. You did. Okay. Awesome there, Siobhan. Carrying on. Another of the ravens liked people, but did not get along with the other ravens. She became known, yes, as Majestic Raven Merlina. She wouldn't take the same nighttime roost as the other ravens, but had her own box in the Queen's house. Less than 10-second delay here, by the way. Yeah, I tend to get the longest delay, actually, on my end, because apparently it sends the signal out, and then it sends it all the way back. So, ironically, I get more delay on my replay than anybody else. Which is good, actually, because it helps me to keep track of when things are unmanageable. One of the bricks near the yeoman's pub was made of glass. Period. capital I. If you peered through it, you could see a human hand within the wall. That is a totally separate thought and sentence. So, new sentence, yeah. Most people believed it to be a fake hand placed there as a prank. That is the get back to work growl for those of you who are sprinting, as the dragon of productivity demands sacrifice of words for whatever you're working on. Okay. Yeah. Most people believed it to be a fake hand placed there as a prank. Before it could be removed, it was sealed in when the other side was walled up, making a permanent fixture. That's hilarious. I have either used photos or quotes from these sources in the footnotes, as well as using them for research purposes in order to create this article. And then you have links. Those are cool. The only thing that I would suggest further is actually link the links, right? And maybe use the title, right? Because this always looks messy with the code. I mean, people can just copy it, but why not give them an opportunity to go look it up, right? So I might just say, you know, the story of the Tower of London, and then use this as a URL to link it. Tower of London Ghosts, right? And Tower of London at Wikipedia is what I might put, and then link it. Yeah, okay, so I did already like this article because I think it's excellent, and I posted it on my, you know, articles that I like and think people should check out page. This is really well done, Siobhan. I enjoyed this article a lot. I think you've done a lot of excellent work with the CSS and the presentation. I think you presented your ideas clearly. You've given a sense of, like, I really feel your world. I get the sense like there might be some Arthurian thing going on in your post-apocalypse, and that excites me. Also, I love this. Look at this. Your menu thingy here, that is freaking cool. You're gonna have to tell me how you did that, because I don't know how to change the shape from a circle, and that's neat. History of name unknown. If there's something Arthurian going on, then you can quote stuff from Arthurian legend, right? You know, and use that as a universe name, right? The Return of Arthur, the Once and Future King. Yeah. Yeah, Sunny agrees. It's a very interesting article, and I like it. Moonflower provided the BB code to do the URLs there, Siobhan, should you need it. Sunny's like, I should work on my articles, I really should. Yeah, probably. Scribe says, just saying, the World Anvil needs to have a competition for new CSS themes, with categories like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, etc. Moon's like, please no, my poor brain. I mean, you wouldn't have to compete, says Scribe. Moon's like, I know, I'm just joking around. But if you did, says Esau. You know, I actually think that is a pretty good idea. I think that would be a fun competition to have. And not only would it be fun, but then afterwards, we'd have a whole bunch of new themes available on World Anvil to use for the public. Because the condition would be that you'd have to make it available to the public. See, this would be a really awesome thing to do. Like, that would be fun as hell. Can I show my new article format that Moon did for me, says Esong? 45 seconds tops. Yes, you can. In the meantime, I'm going to get back to our new person in the chat here, who is, whose name I have forgotten, and I have to scroll back because it's long, and I think I'm pronouncing it right, but it's just long, and I have, you know, my brain is not, but I'll work on it. Yeah, Suma Sakamiya, right, was asking about advice on publishing. Okay, so, generally, you have to decide whether you want to go the route of traditional publishing or indie publishing, right? And both are options, and they have merits and flaws to both of them, right? The advantage of traditional publishing is that, first of all, there's still a lot of people who believe that an indie published book doesn't have the same kind of legitimacy as a traditionally published book, right? It's not a real book, right? So sometimes being traditionally published may help people to take you more seriously. Even if you don't choose to go with traditional publishing after that, you can, having a traditional publishing credit under your belt may help, and it may not, right? Like, my very first book was traditionally published. I've also been traditionally published in a few professional magazine markets for science fiction and fantasy. And I had friends who still wouldn't take my indie published book seriously because it wasn't a real book, because nobody in some office said so. What the frick? Why is it red? I don't know. I didn't do the CSS. I can't help you. I thought it was intentional. It was to draw attention to it. I like this. This is neat. The bubbles are awesome. This is cool with the handwriting. Refresh. Oh, the storyteller seed thing was accidentally toggled on. Oh, okay. Yes, I did that once too. There we go. I see how you changed the writing. That looks cool. Oh, and the contrast with the kind of scratchy hand and then the cursive is really nice. Good use of fonts. And did you change the background too? Okay, see above messages. Yeah, Esong says, right, it would be so good for the community. We have 547 light edits from the Queen of Bats. Barbarossa's back. I don't think I read your article yet, did I? And was that what I was, you meaning to get my attention about, Stretch? Moonflower says I need to add in some padding. Didn't change the background image, just tied in the colors more. It looks great. It looks good there, Esong. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, Raven says, this is not writing related, but it is distracting me. I just found out that my rent is going up $160. That sucks. Okay, so I'm gonna carry on with my publishing advice section here. Okay, so first you decide whether or not you want to go independent or traditional publishing. And like I said, some people will not take you seriously, even if you have traditional publishing under your belt, if it's an indie published book. That's changing, but it is still a thing, right? In some places. There are websites. There's a website, one of my favorite, or was up to this point, one of my favorite websites called Worlds Without End, that reviews science fiction and fantasy books, and people are real fans there, but they won't do any books. So, my publishing wasn't big enough, so they wouldn't do my book, right? They wouldn't even do the book that I published that was an anthology of other people, which contained one story from me, right? So they may piss off. Oh. Shoot, just a sec, guys. Sorry. Hello? Okay, guys, sorry about that. That was my dad, and I never get to talk to him. And what with the fires having been pretty close to my house recently, I figured that's what he was calling about, and he was making sure I was okay. So it was important to talk to him, right? So I apologize for the delay. I see that we've picked up a few people in the meantime. Let's see what I've missed in chat. Where are we at? We're into a sprint by 3 minutes. Okay. Oh, hey, Ron Weasley's back. Hi, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? Yeah. Okay, so I was talking about publishing. Yes. Okay, so traditional publishing, indie publishing. The advantage of indie publishing. Okay. The advantage of traditional publishing is A, respect, right? B, distribution. Traditional publishers have arrangements that they've made with bookstores and agents and stuff like that, and it's much easier to get your book on a shelf if it's traditionally published, right? Indie publishing, right? Advantage, right? Creative control. There's lots of things you don't get to control in traditional publishing, like your cover art. You have no say in that, right? There's conditions by which the traditional publisher will publish a book, right? And if you don't meet those conditions, like one of which might be word count, right? Or you might have to make changes, right? Then they can say, no, we're not going to publish your book. So that's a pain in the ass, right? So creative control, real advantage with indie publishing. If you're going to do anything like as an expanded thing aside from your book, you might want to go that route, because things like language rights are negotiated when you do a traditional publishing contract. Video rights are negotiated. Audio rights, remember, those are the movie rights. Those are the movie rights. So you make sure if you're going to do an agreement with a traditional publisher that you hold on to those, because if somebody does take your stuff and make a movie out of it, that's where the money is. Okay, right? The other advantage with, okay, well, that's the big advantage with indie publishing. The other one is that you're more free to, decide what to do with your book, right? You're more free to engage in arrangements with other authors. You're more free to determine what platforms it's going to be on, stuff like that. Okay. Traditional publishing, you don't get a lot of control over what they do, but they'll do it for you, right? They'll print your book, they'll do the cover art, they'll do the editing, they'll do the layout, all that. That's covered, okay? Indie publishing, you have to pay for all that shit yourself. And don't think you can skip it out, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again, absolutely get your damn book edited. Do not do it yourself. If you have to, do an exchange with another writer whose editing ability you trust, and edit their book as well, right? If you don't have the money to pay for one, but ideally, professional editor. And why? Because you will miss shit, right? There's shit in there that no matter how good you are at editing, you will miss stuff. Not to mention, editing is more than just grammar and punctuation and spelling. It's also things like consistency. Do you spell this the same way every time? It's checking for time. Do the times match up? It's developmental edit. Maybe one character is really falling flat, and you're a good editor who's doing a developmental edit will tell you that and say, you need to do something more interesting with this character or write them out, So, very important. Get it edited. Almost as important, get a really good looking cover art thing done. Now, you can do that yourself if you have graphic design skills, but if you don't, pay somebody, okay? And it's expensive. I won't lie. That's not cheap. That's why I'm doing a Kickstarter, because that shit's expensive. Okay, so money, comparative money. You get a greater share of the profit as an independent writer. You don't get all of it, though, because you usually have to pay at least half of it to Amazon. Keep that in mind, okay? With traditional publishing, you might get somewhere, it's usually between a 3 to 7% royalty, right, on retail, or a 7 to 10% royalty on wholesale, right? The royalty on retail is more money because the wholesale one, they sell for basically part of the price that it retails for. So, and that's per book, right? And that also applies to your ebooks and stuff. So, now that doesn't sound like a lot compared to Amazon's 50, but remember that they're doing the distribution for you, so it's going to be in shelves, and they're going to have people, doing some promotion, right? And you're going to have the backing of that professional company, and you're going to be able to ship it where you want to ship it, right? Ultimately, in my experiences, you make about the same amount of money in both fields, right? So if you're thinking, I'm going to get rich being an independent writer, nah, no, you're not, right? You're in the wrong job. So yeah, that's the basics. When you decide which one you want to do from there, right? If you pursue traditional publishing, you can go two routes. You can either send it to a slush pile, which is some companies will take a look at it. You'll probably wait a year before they will look at it. And they'll read it, and probably they'll decide on it. They'll decide if they're going to reject it within probably the first paragraph, and certainly within the first page. So make sure your opening's really good, right? The other option you can do is try to get an agent to represent you, and agents will represent you to publishing companies that they have arrangements with, and the publishers will listen to their opinion because they've established relationships with them. But it's probably as hard to get an agent as it is to get a publisher. So, right, basically, and once you've submitted something to someone, you have to wait until they say they don't want it before you can submit it anywhere else. And that can be as long as a year. It will certainly be several months. So how patient are you? That's the other thing, right? So there's some basic pros and cons, right? Ultimately, if you can break into the traditional market, it's good. Right? I have a book that was traditionally published in 2014. I'm still making quarterly royalties on it. It's only a couple $100 every quarter, but it's money, and I get it, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. Right? Independent books usually sell a bunch right away and then taper off. So do with that what you will. Okay. So if you have more questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I'm sorry that it took so long to get to answering them. And I hope you're still here so that you got them, and if you want more info, come check me out on Wednesdays, because I do Diane Rates, and that's currently it's from noon Pacific to 3 p.m. Pacific, so that would be 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC, 8 p.m. in the UK, 5 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, right? And that's what I do. So hopefully that was of some help, and I'm sorry for the rapid fire, but I'm running out of time now, and I got 2 showcases I gotta do. So, Barbarossa, slap your showcase in the chat one more time, because I have lost the link. Esong, I love the look of this. This is beautiful. Really spectacular. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Barbarossa was first. We're going to do that first. If I missed anything important in the chat, I'm not going to go back and read it at this point, because we got 15 minutes here, roughly 20 minutes or so before the stream is supposed to end. So, repeat it for me if you don't mind. Posture check. Thank you. All right, this is Barbarossa's article from his Rifle Mages universe, which is a universe he's been working on for a long time, and I really, really like. Really like. Are we getting cracking with the whips? Awesome. Okay, and keep turning in those Game of Thrones words, guys. All right. Conscription in Adros. I believe this was a coming-of-age ceremony. By the way, the picture's awesome. I, name here, do solemnly swear that I will serve in name of monarch, righteously, and defend my country dutifully against all enemies. I will bear the responsibility and take action to preserve our nation, our people, and our way of life. I will bear true loyalty and allegiance to our king or queen and orders of the officers appointed, as is the way. Adrasi Oath of Enlistment. I like your CSS. Really nice. Presenting your world in like a color and a format that really kind of gives me a feel of the period without doing anything super fancy. It's great. last chapter of light edits, says Sunny. Youch. Oh, allergy migraine this morning, says Sunny. It decided to sprinkle just enough to make things flower. Grrr. I hate that shit. Masadi's kicked butt today and is now stuck on her story. I'm going to get off the computer, let her brain rest. Good night. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for covering such a long period with streaming today for Game of Tomes. I really appreciate it, hun. You're awesome as always, and I love you for it. Sleep well, Queen of Cats. All right. Conscription is part of general compulsion for national military service for all peoples in Adros. The service period for normal citizens is 2 years. You need an S there, typo. While those with thaumaturgic abilities, you're talking magic, right, are required a minimum of 2 years. Are required to serve a minimum of 2 years. Is how I would put that. Hugs for Misa. Yeah. Conscription begins at 16 years old and is, miss the word is, as part of the general census. This is done to ensure that all citizens are accounted for. In recent years, the notion of conscientious objector has been recognized as a means of exception. Cool. Neat. My elves don't have conscientious objectors, but they don't have conscription either. You have to volunteer. Participants. The Adros Imperial Military is based on universal conscription. All persons above the age of 16 are liable to serve 2 years. Yeah, that's my orcs. The conscript, actually, I think 3 years is what they're required to serve it, but yeah, cool. The conscripts receive basic training. I before E except after C. Receive is spelt wrong. R-E-C-E-I-V-E. Okay? The conscripts receive basic training, 3 months. After basic training, conscripts will be assigned duties in active service. Commonly, soldiers will be asked to serve within the Empire as town guards, police, or recruiters. However, it is not uncommon for soldiers to be assigned overseas to the colonies to serve the rest of their commission. Sorry, just a sec, guys. I got a frog in my throat here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's about time for me to take my daily allergy pill, and there's full of smoke, so. But I'm going to wait till I'm done the stream. That's the end of the sprint. There will be one more sprint after this. Count it, one more for those of you who are sprinting, so make sure to get your totals in. Scribe says, will there be a chance to go over my article in another stream? It doesn't sound like there is time tonight. Let me have a quick look here. Okay, Barbarossa's article isn't that long. Let's look at yours. Oh, your elephants. I was listening to this in another stream. This is a long article. You're right. Okay, I can leave it in the queue. Are you going to be able to make my stream tomorrow? Yeah, noon to 3 Pacific time. So, where are you? You're in Central, so 2 hours after that. 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. I think, right? And I want to read about your elephants. I only heard part of this on another stream, so I'm excited about it. Sure, I'll be good to be there. Awesome, man. Okay, we will definitely do it tomorrow then. I will even leave it up so that it is ready to go. I will just put it over here so that I don't run into it. And we'll finish Barbarossa's and I won't rush through it then. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Scribe, for your patience. I appreciate it. It's cool. I'm looking forward to doing it tomorrow. You want to hear it all when you have time. Yeah, I know I do. I know I totally do. I heard part of it. It made Coffee cry. I was like, oh, that is, and I heard that part. It's beautiful. I can't wait to share it with the audience. It's going to be great. So, bonus. Okay. Let's start this again because I got distracted. Sorry, Barbarossa. Participants. The Adros Imperial Military is based on universal conscription. All persons above the age of 16 are liable to serve 2 years. The conscripts receive basic training 3 months. After basic training, conscripts will be assigned duties in active service. Commonly, soldiers will be asked to serve within the Empire as town guards, police, or recruiters. However, it is not uncommon for soldiers to be assigned overseas to the colonies to serve the rest of their commission. Awesome. Barbarossa says, I will say that I only had modern examples to base it off of, so it's probably bad. I'm with Scribe immediately. Bro, why would that make it bad? It sounds good so far. I'm with you so far. Military service. All persons are liable to report to an induction or drafting event held in their province on the first day of summer of the year or year after they become 16. Sensible. The Adros Imperial Military sends out official invitations to the event to all youths. Invitations. I like that. I like it. On the first day, all persons will undergo a physical examination by military doctors. It should be noted that multiple drafting events are done in high population areas, and conscripts are invited by the first letter of their surname. Yeah, that's practical. On the second or third day of the event, the conscript meets the draft board in person. The draft board consists of 5 military officers from the military registrar's office, brilliant, and a member of the civilian provincial leadership. You've got all the terminology right, so it sounds like you know what you're doing to me, right? During this, the conscripts can express their desired service location and the time of induction. Or do you mean at the time of induction? Because I assume they know what the period is, right? The draft board will also undergo a series of psychological questioning before deciding if the conscript is fit for service. That's not entirely accurate. The draft board doesn't undergo the questioning. The would-be conscript does. The draft board will also assign? Maybe? Assign a series of psychological questioning? Initiate, that's the word. Yeah. The draft board will also initiate a series of psychological questioning before deciding if the conscript is fit for service. Nice. Alright, that is the back to work growl from the Dragon of Productivity, demanding sacrifices of words for the last 15 minutes of the stream. This is the last sprint. Last chance to get any words in this stream, and then afterwards, you know what? I'm going to put up a poll right now. Because we have 2 people we can raid. We can have Steph Weaves Tales, who's on for about another hour after I finish, or 2 hours, something like that. And she kind of overlaps with coffee, right? So let's see here. I've got the calendar up. Oh no, Steph canceled tonight. Never mind. We're going to read coffee. Well, that made that easy. All right, carrying on. Good work, Sai. 671 words, prompt 6 done for the squids. The school thanks you. Awesome. Steph canceled due to IRL issues. Okay, no worries. See, this is why it's good to have like doubled up streams. Awesome. All right. If they are not, referring back to the previous paragraph, fit for service, they can, I'm not suggesting that as an edit, I'm just saying that to give context, right? If they are not, they can be exempted. Exempted doesn't have a C. You can, the EX is sufficient. Exempted completely, face delayed exemption until the next year, or be placed into invalid service in the case of wartime. Invalid individuals are used to free non-invalid soldiers, or free non-invalid soldiers from non-active duty roles in wartime. I'm confused. Invalids, is this invalid? Cool. Esong says WD Michael is not a Game of Tone streamer, but they are streaming World Anvil for the first time in a year. So if you have a chance to visit, I suggest it. Awesome. In that case, Esong, would you mind doing me the favor of dropping the link to his stream in the chat so that people can check him out? Or actually, you know what? I can do this. Hold on. Because it doesn't matter whether the person is here or not. If they are a Twitch streamer, I can at them. So we're doing that. And any song beats me anyway. Okay. Oh well, that's alright. Awesome. Great. I will stop in and say hi. I haven't seen them in a while. It's nice. Okay. If they are not, they can be exempted completely, face delayed exemption until the next year, or be placed into invalid service in the case of wartime. Invalid individuals are used to free non-invalid soldiers from non-active duty roles in wartime. Okay, I understand. So it's basically like in Starship Troopers, the book, not the movie, where everybody has to do service, but if you are not physically able to do military service, like in an active combat role, they find you a non-com role to do. Cool. Perfect. Once the event is over, the draft board will deliver to each conscript their orders, place of service, and their military branch. Yeah, okay. Otherwise, the conscript is told directly that they have been determined unfit for service and returned home. That would be embarrassing in this culture. Those who fail to report to the drafting event are fetched by police. If they are not found, they are given orders to report to the military registrar's office and, if necessary, brought to the examination and drafting by police. Wait a minute, that's kind of redundant. Those who fail to report to the drafting event are fetched by police, and if they're not found, they're given orders to report and then, if necessary, brought to the examination by police. So you're sort of saying they're fetched by police twice. I think what you want to say there is that an order is issued for, or a warrant is issued for their arrest, right? If they're not found, there's a warrant issued for their arrest because that's treasonous, right? So, you know, and then the police and maybe the military police go pick them up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. I think the word you want there is prosecuted. These individuals can be prosecuted. That was what I was thinking. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, these individuals can be prosecuted. You've got persecuted, just a spelling of P-R-O instead of P-E-R. Persecuted is, you know, picked on by like a big body that has the authority to do that, basically, right? And prosecuted is charged with a crime, maybe sentenced to prison or whatever, right? These individuals can be prosecuted and sentenced to serve their 2 years in jail, charged with desertion. You ain't getting out of your 2 years. My brain farted there, says Barbarossa. That happens to me all the time, especially when I'm tired. I'm like, I know the word for this. There's a word for this. What the hell's the word? Yeah, no worries. At the end of the conscription, all conscripts are offered a 10 to 12 year enlistment period. Once this period is over, they can be further offered a lifetime position in the military as a career. Nice. So, after a couple years, they're like, hey, would you like to stick around for a while longer? Yeah, nice. Mages. Awesome. Okay, by the way, I want to say about that section, I think that's great. That's very well done. It sounds like exactly how things are run in nations that have mandatory conscription, at least as far as I'm aware, and I did some research into that for my Fomorian Empire, so it's not like I'm ignorant about it. And it sounds like you know what you're talking about. You got the right terminology, you understand the procedures. I think that anybody who is familiar with matters military will probably go, yeah, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, scribe. All right, now let's go on to the fantasy portions. Mages. Mages within Adras are subjected to longer conscription. If a citizen is revealed to have thaumic, or do you choose to use the word thaumic, or were you having trouble thinking of the word thaumaturgic? Right? It's spelled like this. Because thaumaturgy is another way to say magic, and it usually refers to magic that you have to kind of study for, right? But doesn't have to. I had trouble. Okay, right? If you're deliberately using thaumic because the language has changed in your world, which is possible, let me tell you, people are lazy, right? People are lazy. They will shorten everything they can get away with to something that is easier to say. They're not going to waste their time with a 4-syllable word if they can shorten it to 1 or 2. They're not going to do it, right? So maybe thaumic is the term, in which case I would say put a tooltip and say shortened from its original thaumaturgic, right? And used in common parlance, or something like that. And then it becomes a world building thing, and that's cool, right? You don't have to do that, but it's an option. All right, 424 words for the squids from Madhouse. Good job. I'm sure the school thanks you. Excellent. All right. Mages within Adros are subjected to longer conscription. If a citizen is revealed to have thaumic abilities by the age of 12, military registrars can be called to transport the child from their home to a provincial boarding school. Here, the student will undergo basic etiquette training as well as mathematics, reading, science, etc. In their 3rd year at the school, if they have passed their required classes, the magus will begin training in magic. This training will be done by a veteran magus who assists students in groups of 4, so as, you need the word so there, right? So as to give them a more personalized experience. Makes sense? Hands-on training from a mentor. At 16, mages who have passed their required classes, don't need a comma after mages, graduate from their preparatory school and will be invited to a military academy to complete their conscription. Mages are placed at a fixed length of 2 years, which consists of basic military training and active service. Nice. Observance. My daughter will serve in the military, just as I have served in the military, and my parents before me. 'Tis an honor, nay privilege, to serve our nation. Quotation mark missing. Adrasi citizen. Things were tough on the farm after my brother got his orders. I got lucky with my bum leg, so I didn't get to go. But him, well, a few real and a pinewood box just don't make farm work easier. Adrasi citizen. Cool. I like the 2 sides there in the 2 quotes. And also there's a certain class element there I'm sensing. The rich are like, yes, it's a tradition, and the poor are like, that fucking sucks. Maybe I'm wrong, but I get that feeling. If that was intended, you have done a great job. Either way, the conflicting points of view of glory and suffering are brilliant, and both are important elements in war. I approve. To many, the conscription is seen as a ceremonial event when children become an adult, as well as an official citizen of Adras. It is here that children are offered a limited employment and learn skills for a potentially permanent career. Because of this, many applaud the idea of conscription. A common tradition in Adras are arming parties, where whole families come together and help inform the new conscript by sharing their personal experiences in and out of wartime. That sounds lovely. This is promoted by the Military Registrar's Office as a means to promote initiative among new conscripts and give them better understanding of their time and service before leaving home. That's really kind of neat. I like that. I think that might be unique. I've never heard of that happening in any culture out there. Mostly people don't want to talk about war. Arming parties. Huh. I might chew that over and borrow some of it for my orcs. That's cool. Not the same, but there's something in there that appeals to me. Neat. However, many in low-income and rural communities who require their children for familial duties or labor view conscription in a lesser light. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't need to hyphenate lesser light. They're separate words there. Yes, I would do this. However, comma, many people, I would say. However, comma, many people in low-income and rural communities, comma, who require their children for familial duties or labor, view conscription in a lesser light. Seeing the loss of labor temporarily or even permanently, comma, in the event of wartime, causes great distrust and even anguish among these families. In many low-income communities, the post-mortem payments of soldiers may not be enough to help pay bills, making life much harder. Yes, because of course, it would be, I imagine, a thing, like, based on the time period and the feeling I get from this world, if you're most of the officers tend to come from the nobility, and most of the, enlisted tend to come from the rank-and-file citizen, right? So, okay, Barbarossa, I think that's awesome, and I don't understand why you keep disparaging your abilities, especially when there's often things in your writing and your presentations that I want to borrow and respect. I think it's awesome. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take that link and I'm going to put it in my list of articles, the block link that I think people should read. I've been doing this. So this is it, my summer camp world building pledge article, and in the sidebar, I gotta reset this because I know I put Siobhan's article in there too. 224 words for the Warren. Thank you, Fantasine. I appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah, see, I'm gonna put it right there. There we go. Because that is really cool, and I think it's really well done. Thank you for sharing that with us, Barbarossa. It's awesome. See, I'll even show you. My image over here keeps freezing. I hope it's not actually freezing on your end, gang. But nobody said anything about that, so I hope it hasn't. Barbarossa says, it was more that I was worried on presenting wrongful information. I did a lot of information research on this, and that is the sprint. That is the sprint. I did a lot of research on this, but it was all modern because Victorian articles were really hard to find, and I wasn't sure how it would translate because of the 150-year time difference. Yeah, the Victorian period, especially late Victorian, is really hard to find, and you kind of got to look at modern stuff and compare it to, the Napoleonic era, and then kind of go, right, and try to figure it out. And it's kind of a pain in the ass, and it's largely because, it wasn't a very exciting period in naval history for a lot of, okay, that's not true. There was a bunch of shit going on, but, army, right? Military history, but there was a bunch of shit going on, but mostly it was conquering other people, so, yeah. Alright, gang, we're at 8 o'clock, so bring out your words! Bring out your words! Bring out your words! By the way, I really love the sound bites that people have put together. Shy Red Foxes is making circulation right now, and it's awesome. But I like doing that, and I'm having too much fun. So I'm going to keep doing that. I hope you guys don't mind. But I think we should take that sound file and put it in the Game of Tomes resources. So just to show you guys, this is my pledge article. Right? Here are some articles that I really like. Guys, if you haven't seen this, read this. Bunker 37 blog. I think there's a monster in my plumbing. Entry number 338. It's awesome. It's hilarious. Right, there's my articles so far that I've published. As you can see, I'm behind. These are Aaron's. I don't have all of his in there yet that he's done. He's not behind, really. And I'm putting pictures in for him when I get there. So, I clipped yours, said Siobhan. Cool. All right. We have 399 words from the Queen of Bats. Good work. We have 189 words for the bats from Barbarossa. The colony thanks you. Right? Barbarossa says, I'm glad you liked it, Sable. I sure did. It's awesome. I love your address stuff. I love your Rifle Mage universe. Am I following that yet? Did I shut that down? I did shut it down, didn't I? Okay, I'm going to fix that. Just a minute. I'm going to make sure I am following. I love it. Fantasine says, for Victorian stuff, I do a lot of looking at Project Gutenberg and old newspapers. Jack the Ripper archivists are good for finding old newspapers. Legit. No, I'm not following this yet because you just started actually writing it. Awesome. Yeah. It's very cool. I think you need to change your cover page. But I know you just started, so you worry about that after camp, which is great. All right. Cool, guys. Barbarossa says, I actually did a lot of research on police news. My next article is going to be cracking to the northern, or going to be Krakens for the Northern Sea for my animal, and then the uninhabitable region. Nice. Krakens, that's a good bad guy for Victorians. I think that's cool. Alright, so I'm gonna just spot my link to my summer camp article stuff here, just because I'm starting to collect articles that I really enjoy, and I think you should look at in the sidebar. Right, so definitely check them out. And thank you all for sharing your articles, and thank you for writing with me tonight. Thank you for your patience at the beginning of the stream. I'm going to switch over to either this layout all the time, or I'm going to create a version of it with a slightly different colored background, but it'll probably be very similar. Because I am fucking tired of having problems with my stream lagging. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to do that tonight. Hopefully that'll be up tomorrow and I won't have to worry about it. If not, I'll be running this layout tomorrow. Yeah, ignore the dragon. We're not sprinting anymore. Oh, nice. Okay. So with 51 hours to go, we are at $4,806. That means that we are, oh, wow. $194 shy of our first stretch goal of audiobooks. I think we can do it. We have 86 backers. I know it can be done. Awesome, guys. Thank you again for all the support. You guys are amazing. Just before I send you over to coffee, I'm going to play my Kickstarter video one more time. And I appreciate you all hanging out with me. I think I might keep doing this particular stream slot. I'm starting to enjoy it a lot, actually. This is a good time for me to work, you know? And with Jamie back at work, I got nothing better to do, really. So, what the heck? All right. So, before we head out and raid Coffee Quills, I'll see you tomorrow. Again, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC, 8 p.m. in the UK, 5 a.m. Eastern Australian Eastern Time, and that will be for Diane Writes, which is my advice and, you know, whatnot streams. So more showcases will be available. We're going to start with Scribes. And on Thursday, I'll be back for Diane Actually Writes, which is strictly writing sprints. I'm also going to be... Okay, Thursday is the last day of the Kickstarter. So I'm going to start streaming again at noon and until 3:30 my time, right? In order to... And I'll be running right after the World Anvil stream that day. I'm also on Thursday night going to be doing a countdown stream right, for the end of the Kickstarter, which ends at 11:59 on Thursday Pacific time. So the stream will be from 10 p.m. my time to midnight. It will, let's see, 10 p.m. will be 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. Eastern on Friday. 7 hours, so 5 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. in the UK, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a nice convenient time for a change, Eastern Standard Time, or Australian Eastern Time, rather. So, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And so, join me then. I will have probably some raffle prizes. I'll be talking about the Toysoldier Saga. I'll share some background stuff. I'll do some reading. And yeah, more add-ons. Let me know what you guys would like to see for add-ons, and I'll add more add-ons. But there are some new ones if you haven't checked it out. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna run my Kickstarter video, and then I'm gonna raid you over to coffee. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hi there, my name is Diane Morrison, and I'm a science fiction and fantasy author. I'm looking for your help to publish my novel, A Few Good Elves. Three years ago, you guys helped me publish Once Upon a Time in the Weird West, which is a collection of my Weird Western serial stories. And 2 years ago, you helped me to edit and publish Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, a fantasy western anthology. I figure we make a winning team. The Toysoldier Saga is a fantasy space opera universe. It has all of the elements of space opera science fiction, but everything's done by magic. I don't think there's anything out there that is quite like it. And I really hope that you'll enjoy it and the extended universe that has been created around it.
Hi, I'm Chris. I play Arian, the grizzled older ex-enlisted elf.
Remember, we've only got 30 days to make this happen. With your support, you can have some of the art that's been created for the books, you can have the stories, the ebook, a trade paperback copy, a hardcover copy, you might be able to get them signed. You could even get the entire collection of everything that I have previously published or been published in. Thanks in advance for your support, and thank you for listening.